It was at this point that DT and Philion realized they hadn't coordinated ahead of time who would speak first.
We hadn't talked about anything. And then it was at this point that Philion was realizing it and communicating that we hadn't talked about anything. And then we started talking about things. I think there's a race coming up, right? It's on SpeedGaming 3, TeknoLink versus Adirondackrick, if I'm reading this correctly. And I think the game is A Link to the Past. I've never heard of it. Philion, what is this game?
Sorry, I'm still stuck on how you say that long name. Adirondackrick?
We can just call him. I mean, his name's in there, right? His name's Ron. That's the fourth, fifth, and sixth letters. Yeah, I think it's.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Ron.
No, I get it now.
Okay, makes sense. So, Adirondackrick versus TeknoLink. Good morning, everybody. I am, in the name of DT, joined along with my good buddy Philion. We have Link Force tracking for you today. We have a Group Q matchup in the bottom bracket. Both of these runners taking an unfortunate 0-2 against their first week opponents and fighting for their tournament lives starting in this series right here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I actually don't know much about TeknoLink as a racer. I just see him in chat yelling at people a lot, so this is going to be my chance to kind of gain some ammunition, learn a bit about him as a racer so I can yell back at him. I mean, learn about him, talk about him, educate everyone about what he's doing.
That's a lot of yelling and educating. I hope it all pays off for everybody involved.
It is Sunday morning and I have a lot of coffee with me. It's time for yelling.
Okay, fair enough. This will be a complete contrast to you then, because I had to set an alarm to wake up for this. I don't know how this is going to go, but looking forward to finding out.
So the way it's going to go is we're going to have these two runners do the escape sequence of Link to the Past, but they probably won't have a sword. They'll have some random item, and then the whole world's going to be open to them, and they're going to have to find the items from the randomized locations. But there's no silver arrows. There's no blue or red mail.
But
there's no mirror shield.
I thought those were part of the normal game's item pool. Why would they not exist? No?
No, try a little harder, TT.
Okay, I actually do know the answer to this. So this is the hard standard tournament. So the item pool is slightly revised. Every item is still in the pool. You will just be capped at a certain upgrade. 14 hearts, green mail, a tempered sword will be your best. There's no mirror shield, but I mean, everyone's going to get the boots early and just laser skip anyway, so mirror shield's just a suggestion as it is. Doesn't even matter in the real game. Hey, look, we're off.
Woo!
Uncle Text has actually been one of my favorite things about this randomizer going back several years now for standard mode.
I believe in Uncle. I believe he can beat the game without us. This is going to be the day, folks, where he just wins. But yeah, I do also miss having the Uncle Text. It was a nice little chuckle at the start of every run.
Some of them are just so kind of off the wall. It's almost like the Ganon text.
Yeah.
Useless information. Ganon wishing he was a spicy barbacoa burrito. It catches you off guard, but it's always done in a really amusing way. So we did not get a map check nice and early. Some people won't. A lot of bow starts lately, it seems. Probably the all-around, aside from like a sword maybe, but probably the most comfortable weapon for people to start with in the escape sequence.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get the bow and you just go and straight ahead to Eastern Palace right after this dungeon. That's
something that you've seen a lot more of lately, too. It's a really interesting play. Eastern being a crystal, again, we might see that now. Tower of Hera, the only red crystal out of the three in the light world. Yeah, you know, that was actually a pretty common thing back in the spring 2017 tourney, if we can go back in time for a moment. Where not necessarily going to Eastern, but a lot of people would actually save and quit out of Sanctuary and go straight to South Shore, at least, depending on what they had out of Escape. So for a while, it seemed like it was a much more consistent route of Escape and then go to Kakariko every time for everybody. But it's been really cool to see things change up lately.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about Standard mode is finish Escape and maybe you actually have some loadout that makes you go in a different direction. Hey, did we say we got bombs? We got bombs! First chest. Runners don't go farming enemies for bombs at this point. If you do, I'll be sad. just a little sad.
And I think even with a single bomb drop, you might not be looking as much. You ideally just need the one for the back of escape. The rats can be a little bit of a nuisance, but that's you're sitting comfortable when you can go through the last couple minutes of this and not have to try and kill every enemy you see. And there's 3 more,
Hey,
so
look,
you know
more
what?
bombs.
I think we're comfy now.
This is enough to, well, even just 3 is enough to do Saha's Rely in addition to the back of escape, or do 2 or 3 bomb checks in Kakariko, if that is the way you want to go. I do have some bad news, though. Uncle didn't win.
No.
We saw him in the sewer. That's one day.
Yeah, no.
Team Uncle will rise. One day.
I believe. I guess today's just not his day. And that's okay. So teknolink just grabbing a quick safety heart down to 1. Had a little bit of an issue with some health along the way here. And adirondackrick, at this point, just a couple of seconds ahead through the escape sequence. Will the key rats tie it back up? I'm stretching for things right now. Like I said, I set an alarm. I'm tired.
Probably not, is the answer.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, maybe if someone forgets where the key rat is, but hopefully, these runners at this point in their careers are not going to do that. That said, you know, I've forgotten which way the turtle rock pegs go in restreamed races before, so.
As far as I know, that's not just in restreamed races, is it?
Only in restreamed races do I genuinely, unironically forget.
Got it. Okay, so you had the ironically part, and that makes it a totally different situation.
So 41 rupees coming into the back of escape, thanks to 2 big 20s in chests. I guess the one reason you might still be farming enemies is if you're hoping to get the 50 rupees when you enter CAC, but that's just your floor for guaranteed having enough for the bottle vendor. I expect the runners will be fine anyways at this point.
I would suspect so.
Especially with tree poles and all that stuff.
Right, that'll usually be something that most runners will check. Although when you're coming out of escape with a full load of bombs, maybe not. Maybe it's not as attractive of a thing to check. I don't know. I don't know that I would in this situation, but just because you are so likely to at least find another 20 rupees or even a couple of 5s in the chests, and you'll have enough for bottle vendor. Yeah,
I mean the tier 2 tree pole, which is what you have coming out of escape, is essentially free if you just go into the woods and do it. Ooh, teknolink actually having trouble with the key rat here. Switching
over to bombs.
Bomb. There we go. Whew.
And just a green 20, which I believe at this point would have been an armor upgrade in the back of escape, and half of a heart. So nothing critical, but I mean, even right there, that's those extra rupees that we were talking about. That's going to easily put Rick over 100 for the bottle vendor.
I do like that both runners did the heads up check of, okay, I got enough bombs, I can just bomb out the back wall of escape, which I haven't timed, but I assume since everyone does it, is a couple of seconds faster. Unless it's one of those things that everyone just does because they see other people do it. Looks like teknolink missed a split there. We saw the timer turn red for a few seconds. And both runners just heading straight to the village. You know, I said I hope we see that early Eastern play, but no lamp, no sword, 3 hearts. I can't actually blame the runners for not wanting to do Eastern Palace. I guess.
Yeah, no, this seems more reasonable. Like, if you're coming out of escape with maybe 5 or 6 hearts, then yeah, and especially if you get like a sword in the back of escape, like just so you have some information on where you're at in those dark rooms. Interesting though that we're seeing both runners, at least for now, not take a look at the lumberjack tree. And that's another
told
fairly
Rick
common
not to
thing.
look at the lumberjack tree till he has boots.
Okay. Everyone's got their strategies for it.
I'm gonna claim that I did that.
Hylian
It's probably
did
not
that.
true.
So, but the benefit here, like, we had a race yesterday where someone gained pedestal knowledge in the first 7 minutes, and the other runner unfortunately did not, and it was necessary. Personally, I'm in a different camp on this. I think that information is critical, and if it's early, you've got more time to use to safely go and check it. But in this case, we've got both runners doing the same thing, so neither runner is in a better situation than the other, at least.
Yeah. I'm glad to not see a big information disparity at this point in the race. It's always a little sad when you see one person have that advantage in a big way at the start. What are we getting in Blind's Hut? Full heart, a Moon Pearl. Enough hearts to get up to a second full heart.
So now we're at 5 hearts. We can just skip the rest of CAC and go to Eastern now, right? Titan's Mitt and Moon Pearl? Okay, you know what? That's some early Dark World access. What do you do with that without much of a way to protect yourself in the Dark World? I think maybe you just keep that in your back pocket for now.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, this is a weird one because yeah, you've got Dark World access, but like you can't do a ton in the Dark World. You can't finish a dungeon, is what I'm thinking, really. Mirror, flute. Jeez. Money.
I mean, zero concern for Bottle Vendor is what this is. But really, really nice items coming out of here. Mitts and the flute and the mirror. I mean, you want to talk about information. When's the last time that you were able to go and check the Misery Mire medallion this early?
Never. And I'm not sure I would, but I could, which is fascinating. This is really a question of, like, where do you go? You've got so many options. None of them are really wrong.
Curious to see where Rick is heading to.
Maybe Rick wants to check that medallion. Nope. Rick wants to check the Desert Ledge.
Desert Ledge and then maybe the medallion.
Okay, Rick, if the bird's going to miss you like that, we need to have a conversation about timing.
Oh, he loves conversations about timing. I do know that.
Yeah, this is what was throwing me with Rick. Like, he activated his flute and he just left the village, including leaving Chicken Hut and the rest of the stuff south. Hey, map check.
Green pendant Skullwoods looked like a red pendant on Palace of Darkness. And I think the other 5-6 was Turtle Rock.
Actually, swap those.
I might have swapped those. I saw 2 red things over there.
Yeah, so Pendant, Turtle Rock, Pendant, Misery Mire, possibly No Need for Cane of Samaria, and then Red Crystal in Palace of Darkness.
That's really, really neat, actually. 2 of the heaviest item-required dungeons possibly not being necessary, and we've got teknolink actually following these same steps. And that map check confirming that, yes, indeed, I was wrong. Thank you.
So, did anyone actually check the Mire medallion, or did Rick just go, it's Pendant, I don't care?
He must have seen it. It's possible that we missed it by like a pixel just because of restream, but... Not sure why he's coming back into the Dark World right now, though, unless to enter Desert. I don't... Well, I guess if you're here, you do it, but... I mean, that's the thing about Flute. You've got so much available so quickly, which is probably why he was willing to leave Kakariko right after activating the Flute. I hope that he goes back, because you don't want those locations weighing on your mind.
I think he'll get back with the bottle. That'll probably drive him back there sooner,
hopefully,
rather than later.
True.
I mean, if he does miss Chicken Hut, it's only the bug net, so he's not in a really bad spot. I do like this check of Desert, though. Honestly, just checking the torch to see if it's a boots required seed gives you that big information.
Mm-hmm. And it is not. We've got the small key. Big key's going to be on the right side. We might even be able to get both items right now, too.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you don't want to be in the situation that we've kind of seen in a couple of races this tournament where runners have Desert Palace still to beat, and they haven't been there, and they're like, do I need the boots? And they either overcheck and find out they don't need the boots, or they undercheck, get to Desert, and go, whoops, I need those things. Meanwhile, Technolink is shooing Desert Palace, is just doing a Gina's Cave for a piece of heart.
And choosing to not even head back into Desert. So honestly, I don't mind that play, because it's like you said, on the other end of it could be boot locked. You might not be able to get a single item out of there. It might just be a slow walk through a couple of really long rooms.
And that is what Rick saw. He got one item that wasn't very memorable out of it, and second item's going to be on Landmo. So,
but information's good, like we've been saying. And honestly, doing something like this early on, I think, is much better to take the time for than doing it later. You got to be mindful of how many things like this you do throughout your run, because they do add up, of course. But early is generally safer for this kind of plays.
Yeah, and I mean, boots are going to boots. You don't really know where your boots are going to end up. You have no way of judging and predicting exactly where they are, or else we would all go there immediately.
Every single time, right away, immediately.
It's not spoiler log day, is it?
No, it's not.
No. All right. No, of course not. It's Sunday.
Are you saying that there's an 8th day of the week that's actually spoiler log day?
Only on alternate learns days.
Okay. Can't process that right now. I'm tired.
Excellent, team. We've bamboozled DT.
Oh my god, it was such a challenge. So, how's this for a play?
Yeah.
On Technolink's side, Thieves Town right away. Yeah, Philium.
It's not the lack of hammer that makes me wonder about this. It's the lack of anything to defeat blind with. I am actually really intrigued by the idea of you've got Mire. So just check the first 4 here, see what you get, and then come back to the dungeon later on.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, I like that a bit better than what Rick's doing in the front of Skull Woods. I mean, Rick's already got 1 item, so maybe it'll work out for him. But it's
Yeah, it's interesting having Mitts and Moonpearl Dark World access so early. We're not seeing either runner hit the dam or Mini Maldron Cave or Saha's Closet, like the normal dense light world options, and they're just coming straight to places where they really can't do much. It's an interesting play, but I mean, it's also some relatively quick checks. So
okay, there's the Mire from Technolink. That's what I like to see. I would have had serious questions if he was doing the back of the dungeon, because you're going to return blind, and then that's a lot of walking, but you still leave 2 items behind.
Right.
But I do like that front 4 play. Just get it out of the way, and it's a little backtracking, but not as much as you'd think.
A little, sure. And I mean, at least with this routing too, you're going to be able to head down. Gosh, we can actually do the Smiths right now too. So there's just a lot of overworld along the way to get to Hype Cave and then eventually finish off at Mini Maldorm Cave. So it's honestly, it's kind of efficient.
Yeah. I guess the one thing that I find a little weird here is that no one's just rushing Eastern Palace now that we have the lamp. But I get it. I get it. If you've got the Mirror already, maybe you want to just put off Eastern until you've got the hammer, and just
possibly
lump those 2 together. Now, Flute reduces your travel time significantly. I'm just looking at this layout and going, hey, there is 1 crystal that the game will let us beat. Speaking of weird crystal requirements, I'm looking at the pendants here. I'm seeing Skull Woods and Turtle Rock both as pendants. I'm wondering if we ever see a Fire Rod today.
That doesn't come up too often. A lot of strategy revision on the fly if you don't have an item like that. Cane of Samaria, yeah, you can kind of deal with. Fire Rod's much less common.
Yeah, and ultimately it doesn't typically matter, except for a few rooms get weirder and slower.
I mean, at least having the lamp right now is like you've got your fire source.
Exactly.
But then, in a sense, does Bombos become another ice rod to get through Ice Palace? Like,
yeah, well, certainly once your Bombos shows up, that's an indication that the game probably wants you to go to Ice Palace. Don't worry about the fire rod at all.
Right, at that point, that would be the last thing on my mind. So there's an Ether Medallion for Misery Mire access.
Yeah.
Interesting,
okay.
Huh?
It's... On the one hand, I'm like, they don't even have a sword. Misery Mire's not even available. But I look at all the other kind of things that are at the same logical depth as that Smith check. Like Death Mountain, most of Death Mountain is logically on the same depth as that Smith check. South Shore is even earlier in the chain, and I'm like, there are a lot of spots for swords. So, we could be seeing like a Sphere 3 Misery Mire access. Okay. Maybe that's just the day we're gonna have.
Gosh, it's too early for that. It's a Sunday.
No. It's a Sunday!
It is. It's a Sunday. It's super cloudy and kind of drizzly here, but yeah, there's no sun here. A lot of excitement in the first 10 minutes or so, though, in terms of what items we found. Like, it's just a really, really curious item set right now. Not much since then, so as open as the world is, like, it's kind of one of my least favorite types of seeds, when you just have the whole world at your disposal right away.
Yeah.
Where do you go? Like, I think that they're doing the right thing. Just as efficiently as they're able to, just going through all of these quick locations and just trying to get item after item after item.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and it's my big worry in a race setting like this is that one of the runners is just going to do a one-off check that the other one doesn't do, that gives them the significant item advantage that the other one just never comes back to. And like, I can't fault any runner for skipping any individual one-off check, because you had Flute and Mitts and Mire by the time you were done Kakariko. Everything is available.
Like, I was half expecting even to see a bumper check and graveyard ledge from Rick after leaving Skull Woods, which teknolink was not in the area of, so that could have been that little bit of information difference.
So yeah, after turning in the purple chest, we're gonna see teknolink check the dam.
A little bit out of order for the norm.
Normal randomizer here, folks. Nothing to see.
No,
move along.
Just another day. And just another 20 rupees.
It looks like he's going back into the Dark World to check Hype Cave, after which we will see the standard Mini Moldorm Cave check.
Gonna hope to find a couple more bombs, or else he'll be down to 1, and will not be able to get hit by an Octorok or Crab and drop that last one before entering Mini Moldorm Cave, so a little bit low. Rick even worse off on the bomb count right now, only having 1.
Oh yeah, that's scary on his end.
Fortunately, there's a bomb shop right nearby that will fill up your bomb bag for the low price of 100 rupees.
That's a lot of rupees.
Nothing really great there. I mean, nice and healthy to start.
Yeah, I remember when we came out of Escape with 3 hearts 15 minutes ago, and now we're at 8?
9 and 8.
Oh yeah, 9 if I look at teknolink's screen.
So this is pretty much the end of the bulk of it. This last 5-item cave.
Yeah, we can go up to Death Mountain, but we can't
do
beat
much.
Tower of Hera. We can't get to East Death Mountain without Hammer or Hookshot.
I mean, I think at this point, really, just Eastern's got to be like the next thing, progression or not. That's your crystal.
Yeah.
Fully in logic with the lamp. Because there is absolutely nothing in Mini Moldorm Cave, so all of your common item checks basically having nothing in this seed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, aside from the early Kakariko stuff, but like beyond that.
Yeah, so it is kind of worth noting out that both runners were really, really thorough with their Dark World access. And what I mean by that is, like, they don't have hammers. So getting down to Hype Cave and the South Dark World is actually super time consuming when you only have mitts. So it was good that they both just got all of those checks while they were in the South. Rick realizes he doesn't have all the bombs he needs. No, Rick! Realize you don't have enough bombs to do Hype Cave. Good.
You know what? Being in the area, I guess blowing that open and then going to maximize your bomb bag is very sensible.
Yeah.
Although this is not the bomb shop. Oh, he's just going to try the 50-50.
It works!
It worked. And that's good enough for him, I guess.
So Technolink is not going to go to Eastern. He is going to do Fake Flipper, probably to Hobo, and then Waterfall, and then Zora.
You know what? You've got the money and the ability right now through Fake Flippers to check all of it, so... yeah, two things I want to comment on from you stating how thorough they were with their overworld. Yeah, these runners know that without the hammer, getting back to this area is not going to be easy. It's a long walk. But also, clearing out so much of your overworld now means you're probably going to be focusing more on dungeons later on, like more consistently. There's going to be much less overworld between each dungeon, which I actually think is a really good thing, because if you've got the ability to clear dungeons, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, my hope, now that you say that, is that this race just turns into a dungeon rush on both sides. And both runners are just clearing the same dungeons together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that'd be interesting to see.
Rick's using the bee!
That bee had his coffee, too. Look at him go!
Good bee.
It is a good bee. That is actually what it is.
And Rick even caught it back after doing Chicken Hut, so we can use that later to chase Blind's head off the screen.
Sure. I was going to say pick a thing. There's a lot of uses for them.
So Technolink did something really cool there on his way into the Waterfall Cave. He knew that he wasn't going to make it into the waterfall in time, and he saw the Zora popping up, and he's like, I do not want to be stuck trying to nudge my way into the door when I get fireballed, because that's an insta-death if you're fake flippering. So he just like swam back left and right a bunch to juke the Zora shot. Not as fast as coming out of the warp line straight up for the cave, but still pretty safe.
And a lot faster than taking the hit and having to come back.
Oh, so much. Even with Flute, so much faster.
So nothing of interest on the Zora ledge. Rick making his way through the Ice Rat Cave check. And is Rick going to set up a fake flipper, or is Rick going to 5? Rick is also going to fake flipper. It's interesting. This is actually going to keep the runners at a very, very... what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to be at a very similar position going through the first half hour of this seed. The only, actually, I think it might even be the only difference right now is that Rick has gone through the front of Skull Woods, finding nothing. But that's it. Otherwise, they've got the same item loadout. They've gone through the same checks.
Yeah, so Rick did the front of Skull Woods, the front of Desert. Technolink did the front of Thieves Town. But again, no progression differences there. So it's really just Rick. You got to be a little bit higher. No, a little bit higher, Rick. No. There you go. If you're ever just alone with Kern somewhere, ask him why fake flippering only works from certain pixels when you're leaving the hobo screen, and it's actually really fascinating, but you need someone like Kern to tell you.
I will have to do that the next time I am speaking with Kern. Thanks, Phylian, for the tip. The swimming mechanics getting the best of Rick here. He's having a lot of trouble finding that whirlpool.
So I think he's trying to swim up left into the whirlpool, which lines you up to potentially get into the waterfall more quickly. There we go.
Momentum carrying over as you transition between the screens. The swimming mechanics aren't exactly easy to control in this game, though, so...
No. Hey, look, Teknolink's doing Eastern Palace. Nothing so far. Nothing. But at least we're in Eastern Palace.
How do you feel going basically the last 20 minutes without finding basically anything new? Okay, that's new.
As a runner, as a commentator?
No, as a runner, like everything you're doing is sensible.
I feel a bit icky finding that hammer there at this point when it's like that hammer was available the second I walked out of escape, or more sensibly probably the second I picked up the lamp. I should have come and got that hammer.
Mm-hmm. Although, if there is an item that you were looking for right now, hammer's probably the big one.
It really is. I mean, that's ability to beat Hera. That's ability to beat Palace of Darkness. That's ability to beat Thieves Town. Oh, hey, those are all crystals.
Actually, speaking of crystals, we also have the ability to beat Desert.
Oh, yeah, we do.
We have a lot of ability right now, I guess.
Oh, I would love to see a hammer Lanmo fight. I mean, it's an awful fight, but I want to see it.
I mean, we have a bow as well. We have bombs.
Yes, that is technically the truth. I hate all of those options, which is why I want to see the runners just kind of wing it. I would love to see them do Lanmo without sword. That said, probably not going to start trying Lanmo without sword. Just due to the time that is likely to take. Also, Rick. Why did Rick walk from Link's house to Sahasrahla and then to Eastern Palace? I don't know.
Because his flute was not equipped.
Okay. Hey, past Rick. Future Rick? Rick, when you're watching this back, I wish you had gone, fluted to 5, defeated Eastern, and then gone to Sahasrahla. It's just faster that way. Just take notes. Also, I need you to pick up milk when you go to the store for me. Thanks. Okay, so hey, teknolink finished Eastern. Is now going to do Sahasrahla. This is just faster, as pointed out. And where do we go now? Mountain?
Palace of Darkness.
Oh no, Mountain. Palace of Darkness. Mountain. Palace of Darkness. Palace of Darkness is probably the correct answer here. You get it done, then you never have to backtrack to it. You've got enough hearts that the lack of a sword to increase your hitbox for Helma probably doesn't matter much. Maybe even find the sword while you're going through the dungeon to increase your hitbox, but yeah, it's going to pay out 5 items while you clear a required crystal. So yeah, I like the pod play. At some point, we're going to need swords, especially to get into Eastern or Ice Palace if that Bombos theory I have ends up being true.
Okay, hi. Sorry. So we're entering Palace of Darkness as Rick is going through the rest of Eastern. That about right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Rick's got a hammer. Rick's got a hammer. You missed some fireworks, actually.
Oh, did I?
There was a whole parade that we had.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
realize...
the Parade Master General was looking for DT. He had like a...
No, it was Luigi. We were playing Mario RPG, right? I remember that. That was fun.
Yeah, he was looking for DT to give out like a key to the city or something. I don't know.
Oh, dude, what am I going to do with that?
Unlock the city.
The city doesn't need to be unlocked.
I missed the first chest in Palace of Darkness, but I'm thinking it wasn't a small key, forcing teknolink to go right side. Good thing we have bow. I hope teknolink is counting keys. Maybe we can see like a big key chest skip. That's always my hope in Palace of Darkness.
Maybe. Reading key logic in dungeons has never been my strong suit. Not to give myself away, but it was Red Cane. Okay, excellent. Personally, if I don't have the big key, I'm checking everything in the front. There's the big key, so if I get a small key on the left here, yeah, I would be more apt to go straight to the back and skip one of those, the big key chest or the hallway in the back, once I get there. Because at that point, you can start to calculate when it would be a key for key. But
well, you've always got at least 4 keys.
I believe 4 in the front of pod. Right.
Oh no, Rick. Oh no, Rick's fine. Why did I think Rick took a death? I need more coffee. But yeah, you always have at least 4 in the front. So teknolink only having 1 key so far and 3 checks left means that each of those remaining 3 checks are going to be small keys. Oh look, small key. He's going to fall down in the hole here and pick up a small key. So really, all this means is that since the vanilla big key spot takes a key to get to and is itself a key, you should just skip it in this case. It is often hard to actually make that happen because you may get so many keys you don't know the identity of the vanilla big key chest, but having a non-key in the very first chest is usually enough to force you to the right side and give you that information.
Fair enough. Always something to learn with this game.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to see a hammer yump? Okay. I wanted to see a hammer yump there because you've already got the big key and a small key to get out of the dark maze. So you just hammer yump, do the maze backwards, and then you can do your whole basement, run through the hallway, and go straight to the boss from there. Pod routing is hard, guys.
So a third key here, in this case, is going to mean that we don't have to go through... No, I'm sorry. No, there is a key. There is an item, right? Am I understanding that right? There's an item in the hallway now? Yeah, no, there should be. This is not going to be key for key.
I mean, it's not a good item. It's just a compass, but it was a non-key, so... but it looks like teknolink maybe doesn't know the hammer yump and is just going to walk through the maze and mirror out from there, which also works. The big thing is, of course, more than anything else, avoid running the maze twice in Palace of Darkness. And he's going to make that work. Fire rod. Fire rod. Sword
works.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Cool. It's a really good spot to find sword. I'm actually really happy about that for teknolink and for Rick eventually.
So what does this mean that we need at this point? Flippers and a hookshot, correct?
And another sword, I guess?
Well, yes. Sword is a given.
But yeah, flippers and a hookshot to complete Swamp Palace is all we still need. We can beat every other dungeon right now.
Ice Palace, a slight exception not being in logic, but you know what, that wouldn't even be worth going to, because the key logic there can mean that you need the hookshot to beat it, and the flippers definitely won't be there, so probably not the best sequence break in this case today.
There's... Yeah, Rick, you need to hit the button. There you go. So did Rick skip the back of the dungeon, and he's just going to go to Helmasaur first, and then go back for the rest?
That is what Rick is doing in this case.
Okay. I like this play. It's actually going to work against him in this specific case, because his hammer hitbox is going to suck. It's a weird thing. Your hammer hitbox, if I understand right, actually increases just by virtue of having the sword in your inventory.
Is it by having the sword in the inventory, or just... I always thought it was having the sword held out.
Oh yeah, it's having the sword held out.
Or as we've recently... I don't know when this was discovered, but should you have the boots here, arming spin speed is effectively the same thing without having the sword out, so you move a little bit quicker.
Yeah,
but not the case here.
That's right. That's right. So teknolink can extend the hitbox. Rick just isn't going to be able to do that, and going to have maybe a bit of a closer scare with the boss. teknolink just unloads on that jewel with the bow and takes a little bit of time, but gets the win.
I suppose in this situation, it's that first phase that sword extension is going to really help for, because we're probably not going to see fighter sword spins, and hammer hits without that extension is kind of difficult. So it's probably going to be an arrow fight for the second phase for both runners at least. So it's highly going to depend on the RNG.
Yeah, if you're comfortable doing the hammer hits up, which requires like really good knowledge of how to line yourself up. Having the sword is better. If you're going with bow in the second half, like Rick is doing here, and Helma's being a very good boy, just
really just sitting there,
place. In that case, it'll work out.
Yeah, no, that was all in all, I would say pretty even fights for both runners, with or without the sword. But Rick's got to go back in, and the thing I like about doing Helma first is that if you count your items, you can bail after getting the last item. Unfortunately, the last item is going to be the last item in this case, and it's not going to benefit too much.
Mm-hmm. So, teknolink is going to Ice Palace without the flippers. This is interesting. I think I like it because you can still Icebreaker with your Cane of Samaria and full clear the dungeon fairly effectively.
Yeah, all in all, I still like it. I don't know that it would have been my first choice right now, but the good thing about doing Ice Palace in this actually in a lot of situations is that you're not tempted by any other overworld. You are strictly going for a crystal, so it's not like you've got a couple of things nearby before or after the dungeon. You're going for your crystal. You're getting your 3 items here, even if we probably won't see either of the remaining items we need out of this dungeon. I think it just keeps you focused.
Yeah, having only fighter sword is a little rough, but that's why we saw teknolink go and buy both a green and a blue potion. So we might just see some fire rod spam in the cold stair fight. I'm a little surprised that teknolink isn't just rushing or checking Desert Palace to find out if it's boots required or not. Because Rick has that information and can make the run on Desert right now, after finishing pod. Book will allow him to do that, though he could have done it anyways. I just wanted to shout out that he picked up the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you focus on your crystal right now, and then whether you choose to go to desert and I guess there's not really anything surrounding desert at this point, or Hera, and then to East Mountain, which is a time sink. You may not need as many items by the time you're done with Hera. That just as one example. Even the backup thieves at this point.
Yeah. Technolink goes for the stair clip in Ice Palace. Doesn't get it. And now gets to do the lineup that we all hated as kids. And remembering correctly that you have to palm the floor here, not drop down on the right, because we have no hookshot. Is Rick also going to Ice Palace?
He may. Stocking up on potions right now. I mean, quick flute no matter what your next plan is. But yeah, very possibly doing that with Ice Palace in mind. That's a negative.
Okay. Thieves Town?
Gotta be finishing off Thieves, and we only got one item out of Skull, correct?
I believe so.
Because there's nothing else in this area. There's Hammer Pegs, there's all of Thieves Town. Did he do the first 4?
Technolink did, but
so Rick did not.
Did not.
Okay, so no, this is actually interesting for Rick, and it puts our runners in 2 different positions. He did do the first 4. It's open, I guess.
No, Rick just opened the door when he walked by.
Oh. Okay, never mind. It's almost lunchtime, and words are for lunch, I guess. Alphabet soup, folks.
Rick actually sent me a message earlier this morning. He said, I'm going to open the front door of Thieves Town when I walk by. It's so that half an hour later, DT will be confused. I do not have the screenshot to back this up.
I will just believe that.
Thanks.
But yeah, no, this puts him in a position afterward to do Hammer Pegs and finish up Skull. It's not going to take too long. It is Green Pendant. There's some additional value. And then we've still got all of the North Dark World checks. So
I'm really not sure about doing Skull at this point. Like, maybe it works out, but it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time.
You're in the area. I think there's an argument for both ways. Maybe more so to not do it.
Yeah, you have mitts and flute. Everything in the game is in the area.
Okay, you know what? That's absolutely fair. That is a really, really valid point. We're going to see teknolink switch over to Hammer strats, not using any of the potions to just finish this off with Fire Rod, but at full health, maybe you want to keep your potions for something later on. Not full health anymore, but full enough. And Hammer's not too bad if you can just get Cold Stare in a corner and keep that rhythm going.
Yeah, as long as you're not firing upwards, it's pretty safe.
So as expected, nothing in Ice Palace.
Yeah, again, just an interesting choice, given that, for all you know, it could be... You could have the option to do it in Go mode. Now, again, that doesn't particularly matter, because with Icebreaker, full clearing ice is almost as fast as Go mode. It's more... In some ways, it's more just like... Since Ice Palace is likely not to have your progression because it's locked behind so much, why not put it off, I would say, until you've got a better sword. Technolink made it through the Gold Star fight just fine with Fighter Sword, but it's nowhere near as fast as a well-done Temperance Sword fight.
No, that's true. I guess part of this is another consequence of, I mean, like you said, having those mitts and the flute. Having so much accessible. I guess at a point you just got to make a decision to go somewhere, and even if you realize afterward, like, maybe I shouldn't have done this. If you're committed to it, it's usually probably just safer to stick with what you're doing.
Oh yeah, at that point you do stick with it.
Well, there's
hey,
another
look, there's a sword. Swords
which
are great in Thieves Town. Yeah,
we would have been able to beat Thieves Town on the way through the first time, but we wouldn't have had hammer. So
that's true.
I just wanted to say that there was a sword here.
Oh, I'm just happy to see a sword in Thieves Town every time, because I get to make the joke that it would make the blind fight so much easier.
Actually, going from fighter sword to master could.
It does actually increase your hitbox, like.
So there's some
small, but it's there.
There's some truth to that.
I hate it when my dumb jokes have a grain of truth to them.
But that's what makes them so good, though.
Ooh, Rick having a bit of trouble with the blind fight. Still basically on script, just taking a couple hits he doesn't want to.
Mm-hmm. Still relatively quick and clean. Got out of it alive. And I must admit, I'm actually very confused seeing his sprite with a blue shirt and not having blue mail.
What is that sprite?
That is... Wow, really?
I don't know. I don't know things.
That's Rocco.
Yes, Rocco.
Children's cartoon that was absolutely not for children.
Yes, Rocco.
As most cartoons, I guess.
Please explain for my friend in chat, named Philion, who Rocco is.
Well, you see, I was actually fairly young when Rocco was big. I simply remember the show itself. I never actually watched too much of it.
I see. Wait, hang on. Isn't Rick supposed to play the bunny sprite?
Yeah,
Rick?
I wasn't going to question that.
Rick?
So 50 minutes in, we will be getting our first looks up at the mountain, taking the old man home, pretty standard stuff. Tower of Hera's fully accessible. I'm actually a little bit surprised right now that Rick has not gone back to Desert to finish it off. Knowing that it's still the only thing in the area you can do, it would still keep you focused on that crystal. You're not baited by Misery Mire.
I was going to say, we can do Misery Mire, but we can open it and walk in the door and stare longingly at the pit and nothing else.
We actually can open it this time, that's true. I mean, Desert's going to be such a quick clear, it almost doesn't matter. I think there's still one item on Landmo. I might be misremembering.
There is. So Rick went straight from Thieves Town to the mountain, but it looks like teknolink is going to do hammer pegs and probably magic bat as well.
Yeah, some of these very, very close checks, relatively not taking a lot of time either, right after Thieves Town. This way it's going to be out of your mind. It's done. You don't have to come back here at all. Something was on Ether Tablet. I have no idea what. Bombo's medallion is in the Hammerpeg Cave. And there's our first item in Tower of Hera. We will not be seeing a Hera pot. We do not have a hookshot. So whether big key's in the basement or right here, it is right here.
Oh, very nice.
We're just gonna head upstairs.
And we'll keep you in suspense on what was on Magic Bat. Someday we'll find out.
So that's a lot of suspense.
That's a lot of suspense. I need to hang on.
Well, while you keep hanging on, we have item number 2 out of Tower of Hera. So nothing here.
No, I have moved to the edge of my seat now. So.
Oh, excellent! I'm so glad. And on that note, Tower of Hera is actually our second 5/6 crystal.
Yeah, neat.
Oh, hey, look what teknolink's doing. Back of Skull Woods. We know that there's an item here. And green pendant. And in the area, possibly a mirror check to at least take a look at the pedestal. I don't want to get you guys too excited, because it's probably nothing.
It's almost certainly nothing, but I sure would like to check it at this point, because
I think at this point you want that info.
If it turns out you do have to beat Misery Mire and Turtle Rock, that is a lot of knowledge to be carrying around, and it completely changes how you're going to route things.
For sure. I mean, at the same time, as Rick is going to head to East F Mountain, we could have the ability to at least get through most of Turtle Rock right now. Gosh, that's an interesting one. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but if we happen to find the information that we need, and I don't know, I'm not going to get too far ahead. So that's Quake in the back of Skull Woods. All 3 medallions now for teknolink. Turtle Rock would be accessible, but possibly not for Rick.
Yeah. It does have me wondering. You know, we got all these medallions accessible to varying degrees of earliness. Earlyitude?
Sure.
Non-lateness, that's the word.
Okay, that'll work. Yeah, no, it's got me curious about things. I think if you're in Rick's position, knowing that Desert only has 1 item, you just keep going through the mountain. If Turtle Rock is openable, no longer keep closable with that Ether medallion. See, I can make it work too.
Yeah, you probably just dive it because you're here. And,
I think so.
I mean, you still need flippers and hookshot, so...
You're not going to get both of those from...
Even
Desert.
in the event that Landmo has one of those, you're not getting both.
And in fact, well, no, if you get flippers, that's at least access to Swamp. But if you find flippers here, that actually is access, pretty much full access to Ice Palace. So maybe we see Rick go there. Okay.
Oh, dang it. All right.
Okay.
All right. That's a fantastic pedestal check from teknolink. Flippers on pedestal. Strap in, folks. I know we had Dark World access before we were halfway through Kakariko, but we're in for the long haul now.
And this is where having that medallion from the back of Skull Woods could actually be huge for teknolink. Yeah. So I guess now I'll just go ahead and say it. Since we have a required pedestal item, gosh, if you're teknolink, knowing that now, do you when would you we're not up there right now, we're not on the mountain. When would you go into Turtle Rock? Are you going to hope at that point to find the ice rod before going in, knowing that you have to do it? Or is it just like any other seed and you just assume it's in there anyway?
DT, you remember at the start when you were like, oh, it's Sunday, I'm sleepy, I just got up, I don't want to think about this. I want to claim that now. I want to be like, no, it's
morning,
Sunday.
SpeedGaming 3. We have Game 1 of Group Q's lower bracket between teknolink and Adirondackrick. And Phylian is now asleep. I'm in the name of DT.
What in tarnation?
I mean...
that's the wrong Zelda game.
Yeah. I mean, it just... we just like kicked it into overdrive. We got it's exciting, right? SG Chat is loving this, which is making me love this as a commentator. It's giving me something to talk about because I know that they're all thinking it.
So we did see Rick check the Turtle Rock entrance requirement. It is Bombos, so he's going to have to get to Hammer Pegs.
Hammer Pegs.
To get that. That's actually pretty rough for Rick.
Yeah, though I could see that being a bit isolated.
It's a bit isolated. I'm also just a bit sad that he didn't get to make the dip into Turtle Rock right now. You know, Ice Rod may not be in there, but for all we know, Hookshot is hiding in there, and Hookshot does unlock a fair amount of the other stuff.
Right.
Like Hookshot gets you into Misery Mire, so we're going to need that before we get flippers.
That's true. That's true. That's got to be somewhere.
There is an opportunity for Rick if he checks the pedestal early enough to get Go Mode, Ice Palace, and Swamp Palace.
He may wind up there sooner rather than later. Like right now, he's heading back to. Well, who knows if he does Bombos Tablet first here, but he's going to have Pyramid Fairy on his mind, and I don't think that we've seen Pyramid at all yet, or Catfish. So that's a quick run up the east side of the Dark World, and then after that, he's pretty much just got that Hammer Peg and Magic Bat and Back of Skull area left. So I think he's actually going to be in pretty okay shape to get that knowledge. Oh gosh, we're going to get our first look at this too. We have not seen this yet. That's right. Forgot.
Yeah, teknolink really covering all the bases. Just seeing its 10 arrows in
That's fine.
Cave.
You can only handle so much in one seed, so...
Yeah. Not quite all dungeons, just almost.
Question in chat regarding the boots. The Desert Palace is not boot locked. That was something that we saw fairly early. Adirondack Rick did take a look in there. teknolink has not been into Desert to have that knowledge. So Hookshot's on the pyramid. It's just been sitting there the whole time.
Okay.
So would that be Misery Mire access? Gosh, but you know what? Rick has the Hookshot. Rick does not have the knowledge of that, though.
No.
Maybe it'll push him back to Desert anyway to finish that up, get an item, and just do Misery Mire in the area?
Could be.
Maybe. Just coincidentally?
Could be. I mean, at this point, Rick just needs... Well, from Rick's standpoint, it looks like he just needs flippers for Go Mode. Turns out, with him being on the pedestal, he's going to need the Ice Rod. So...
We'll need the Ice Rod. Rick is still going to need Bombos.
And he needs the Bombos. That's the
Bombos,
thing.
not a Hammer Pegs. Interesting times ahead.
Yeah, I'm interested in what happens to teknolink here up on the mountain. He knows he has to beat Turtle Rock. He's got the Bombos to get it. He may very well dive into it, in which case, if he finds the Ice Rod, that is huge on his end.
That would be.
But like, if he finds the Ice Rod and, say, boots for Misery Mire, that can lead him in directions that aren't that Hookshot on the pyramid. But he's got the knowledge advantage. This is hard to say. What do we say in situations like this, DT? The race comes down to whoever finds the items first?
Yeah, and eventually beats Ganon first at the end. Yeah, that's ultimately what's going to decide today's winner.
Yeah. We got to do that.
This is the point in the run where each runner, like the first half hour of this was everyone just following each other. But at this point, Rick has the Hookshot. I don't know, like, I'm trying to think in my mind, when is teknolink going to get to the pyramid to find the Hookshot? teknolink has Bombos and Pedestal knowledge. When is Rick going to get those? So at this point, even as a commentator, I am genuinely curious to just sit back and watch because I don't know how to speculate this right now.
Yeah. I mean, Pyramid is one of the most out-of-the-way checks for teknolink.
But having...
Catfish is more out of the way.
Yes. teknolink's going to have access to Pyramid Fairy after this, which could send him there. But
exactly.
he's going to be tempted with a 5-minute turtle rock dip as well.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Rick is headed back to Hookshot Cave, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, what if Ice Rod is there? Then...
Yeah. I get why Rick's doing this. You don't want to... Like, he feels like he left this behind. This is just a long ways to walk back for only 4 items. 4 checks. Especially without Bombos. Now Rick might be thinking, maybe I'll just get Bombos here and I can dip TR, but this is...
Very possible. I mean, we know it's not.
This is a long walk for Rick.
And Tempered Sword is good, that'll help. Unfortunately, walking right off, we'll have to walk back to get those last 2 chests. And nothing... I mean, Tempered Sword's big, but nothing as direct progression here. I think for Rick's situation, you want to see Rick go back and finish Desert, and then you hope that Rick is going to just coincidentally dive Misery Mire as well, because it's right there and he still needs items. For Technolink, you're going to hope that the Ice Rod is in Turtle Rock, and then at what point do you find your hook? Maybe Boots are in there too, and he doesn't even need Hookshot right away. That would at least get him to the pedestal.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see Technolink dip Misery Mire kind of as soon as it becomes available. Again, Technolink, this is still a bit surprising. Technolink has no knowledge of Desert, and that includes, mainly, in fact, revolves around him not knowing he doesn't need Boots. Conversely, maybe more simply, Rick's going to beat Desert Palace without Boots, and he knows he can do that because he went there early. So, the lack of Boots and Hookshot might be keeping Technolink away from Desert area entirely, because he's like, I don't want to go there just to fail to beat 2 dungeons.
That's actually a completely valid thing, because at that point it becomes less of a quick check and more of a, I've got to come back here later for sure.
That's it, you got Flutes and Mitt. Everything is close by. Not everything, but a lot of things are close by.
A lot of things, right? So it's not the biggest deal to have to come back, but especially pushing the point where we're past an hour, and you've got that pedestal knowledge, you don't want to have to make double dips. You want to go for what you certainly can do.
Yeah. Speaking of potential double dips, are we going to see Technolink do the Turtle Rock dive here?
I think you do it at this point.
My gut says he's got to try it.
I genuinely think you do it at this point. You can't enter Swamp Palace. Like we said, we could be avoiding the Desert Mire area because you might not be able to do anything. This is something you can definitely do. And honestly, out of what we've seen and the remaining checks that we haven't seen, pretty good chance that Ice Rod is in here to begin with.
Yeah, and for all Technolink knows, Hookshot's in here.
Right. Yeah, no, there's between Ice Rod to beat the dungeon, of course, Hookshot to get into Misery Mire, or Boots to get into Misery Mire, and definitely do Desert. There's actually quite a bit of value that Technolink would be hoping to find in this case.
He is, of course, and this is the correct thing to do. Opening Turtle Rock, then running away to check Super Bunny Cave just to make sure Ice Rod isn't in Super Bunny Cave.
Opening Turtle Rock and then running away. That is always the correct thing to do.
No, not like that, DT.
So we do have Rick going into Misery Mire. He does not know this, but this is absolutely what he needs to be doing right now. I don't know where he goes afterward, but this is, if you're an Adirondack fan, and you should be because he's a fantastic guy and great administrator for this tournament. This is going to be good for him.
There is, I think, a strong potential that Rick gets 2 items out of the front of the dungeon and then just bails, which could hurt him a little bit.
In that case, we're If you're Rick, because yeah, that is
On the other
something
hand,
we could see.
if Ice Rod shows up, that's amazing for him.
It would be.
I just want to know where Ice Rod is. Just
We're
one of the
find
runners, find Ice Rod for me. Remove this tension from my shoulders.
We will find out. Yeah, I guess depending on how quickly we get the 2 items here, we may or may not see Rick go all the way to Vitreous. So Rick is probably... I mean, I don't know what Rick's hoping, but you're not going to want to see both items.
Rick's hoping he just finds the flippers in here and then is in go mode.
Okay, right. Because probably that is all that he needs.
Yeah, this is why he's not doing Ice Palace, because he's like, well, why flippers are all I need to finish the game? Why would I check Ice Palace when I need flippers to get in there? Rick doesn't know he's missing 2 items to get to the flippers.
Although, granted, if you had the ped knowledge, it puts Rick in a slightly more unique situation for Ice Palace than Technolink. Not only because you'd get to go mode it, but sometimes the seed catches up to you, and it's a lot to try and figure out where to go next, what exactly is your best routing. So if he needs a couple of minutes even, he knows that he should be able to just go there and go mode it, not have to worry about anything, and at least try and come up with a route afterward.
What we are going to see is, and this is going to be hard to really see the effects of because the runners aren't doing the dungeon at the same time, but Technolink's run of Turtle Rock is going to suffer a little bit just from having Master Sword. The big thing is that a single spin attack can't take out a Hokuboku, or as some people like to call them, Pokies.
I'm so glad that you clarified.
I got you, DT. So yeah, it just means Technolink needs the Fire Rod, which is going to be a bit slower in those cases. Whereas,
still no items out of Misery Mire.
Yeah, well, that's probably honestly good for Rick that he's not finding anything.
I agree. 3 locations left.
His base case scenario, he has no idea. He's probably going through Misery Mire getting really mad that he hasn't found any dang items so he can just leave this dungeon. But it turns out his best case scenario is that he gets forced all the way to the boss. There's 1 item for him.
Is item number 2 in the big chest? It is. He's leaving.
Well, that's really good for Technolink. That's going to really shift this race. I mean, like, you can go back to Mire and go straight to the boss at that point, but
getting through the
front of Mire, especially without boots, which is increasingly looking like the situation in this seed, it's just slow. It's painful. Mm-hmm. You don't like to do it.
No, it's not an enjoyable time. Technolink in Mimic Cave, the most dense part of Turtle Rock still to come. Yeah, it's really just a curiosity of where that Ice Rod is. Although, that Ice Rod itself isn't going to give Technolink access into Misery Mire. Technolink still needs to either get the Hookshot off of the Pyramid Ledge, which actually is required anyway because of Swamp. Mm-hmm. But that the boots need to turn up at some point too, or as another option.
Yeah. We are really narrowing down where the Ice Rod could be.
I don't know where else it could. I don't think we've seen the Green Pendant turn in yet.
Green Pendant. We did see Graveyard Ledge. Cape was up there. I don't think we've seen Bombo's Tablet.
I think you're right. Catfish has been done. Yeah, I'm trying to think of these outlying locations.
Between the 2 runners and all their early access, we've done a lot of the stupid locations.
Yes, as a reminder, chat, we started this seed with Mitts and Moon Pearl and the Mirror and the Flute coming out of Kakariko. So a lot of your most common overworld checks, including Blacksmith and Purple Chest, have been done for pretty close to an hour now. Kind of a strange thing.
Mm-hmm. Now, we should say done by 1 runner, in particular Technolink has done kind of a little bit of that extra stuff. I'm thinking here of both Hammer Pegs and Magic Bat. Hammer Pegs being the important one,
Right.
because that's where teknolink got Bombos to even let him in to Turtle Rock. We're going to see a small key and an ice rod on Laser Bridge.
So, teknolink does not have much overworld left. So I feel like that hookshot's going to come up for him very quickly after this dungeon is completed.
Yeah, where else is he going to go other than the pyramid that he just unlocked?
Right.
I say just, it was several minutes ago, several checks ago. But he just unlocked that from beating Hera. So that should send him to kind of the only spot left in the game with items.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pyramid Fairy to Pyramid to Catfish is I mean, it's 4 items. That's good enough at this point in the race. Honestly, you know what? That might even, aside from Bombo's tablet, that might actually be all that teknolink has. Between the runners, there's not much. Individually, there's even less.
He has really covered a ton of this game.
Rick about to pick up that Quake medallion that unfortunately is not going to help. That's not the one he sees, and he knows it.
No, that's not a helpful medallion, I can hear Rick saying.
But he is going to get the information that he needs right now, and after leaving Misery Mire, you know that for any runner, that's not going to feel very good. But he has the information now. All that's left is to, well, find Bombos. But he's just going to go right back to Misery Mire. You know what? This is fine. It's not an item, but he knows that he needs the pendant at this point.
Just take it out on Vidi. teknolink needs a few more hammer hits on the last phase of Trinex. He only had one neck left, so I got confused about who he was. So, what does each runner need to finish up at this point? teknolink has beaten Turtle Rock, can beat Desert Palace, though he doesn't know it. Needs the Hookshot to get into and finish Misery Mire to get his Go Mode flippers. And for that to happen, he needs to go to the pyramid. Specifically, just sitting on top of the pyramid there.
Mm-hmm.
Not even nested that deep in the seed, because both hammer and gloves were available super early in this run.
As for Adirondackrick, needs the Bombos medallion to get into Turtle Rock to get the ice rod. That Bombos medallion sitting so peacefully at the Hammer Peg Cave. And I mean, again, we're talking about the locations that each runner has. Rick doesn't have a whole lot either at this point. So you could see Hammer Pegs and Magic Bat being a fairly quick check for him. Aside from that, I don't know that he's done Graveyard Ledge, but...
yeah, North Dark World's missing from him, as well as Bombo's Tablet, because that's missing for everyone, and will likely continue to be.
So that entire region should be fairly close to Rick's next play then. Whether he starts on the north or goes to Hammer Pegs.
Likely.
But yeah, teknolink heading for the Big Bomb, Pyramid Fairy, and then Hookshot will be awaiting right on the pyramid, and that'll be close enough to a go mode for teknolink.
Yeah, he may not totally know it based on Desert Palace. We may even see him beat Misery Mire first, just for the total certainty about Desert. So one of the interesting things here that I thought might have been cleared up already, but doesn't seem to be going away, is that sword difference. Teknolink's still on Master Sword. Not going to have a lot of opportunities to pick up Tempered Sword from what we've seen Rick clearing. Especially because he is now basically in go mode. So, you know, that green 20 that we saw in the Misery Mire Big Chest could be a sword, could be the Technolink passes that by.
That's true.
Maybe we see him dip into Hookshot Cave on his way to Ganon's Tower, just going, I wonder. Which would be great for him to do.
I think hopping into Hookshot Cave is generally safe. You know, you're not getting silvers here, so the time speed up for going from tempered or from Master Sword to tempered is definitely going to be a better bet than how long I don't know how long Hookshot Cave takes, but you're gonna feel good finding tempered if you dip in there.
You're gonna feel great finding tempered if you dip in. On the other hand, you might. All depends on how much of the rest of the game you've checked.
Right.
Kind of how you calculate your odds of Tempered Sword being there versus anywhere else in the game.
Or you take the chance that there's just one in GT because, hey, there's like 500 items there. So.
Yeah, a lot of the basement items are junk, but also you might just have to go through them anyways, so who knows. Hey, look, Rick went to Bombos in the Hammer Pegs. He's got that. He can get into Turtle Rock. He, of course, does not know Ice Rod is in there waiting for him. So we're going to see him check, I think, a lot of the Light World or North Dark World stuff while he's in the area to avoid that backtrack.
Doing the magic.
I don't know what he's doing with the flute here.
Played a song.
So many times Rick has dodged the duck, and I can't tell if it's on purpose or not.
It's a master of his craft. But yeah, I mean, this check right now makes sense because you are right here. You wouldn't want to do Turtle Rock and then come back here to find the Ice Rod. But I think at this point, having the knowledge as late as you do, heading up the mountain and just going to Turtle Rock right now is probably the better call.
Oh, and he is going to skip some of that stuff and go to the green. No, what?
I'm not sure.
Is he checking the Lake Hylia item?
Green pendant.
It's faster to go to 5 to do this, right?
I believe so.
Okay. I mean, this will still work.
Oh, it worked. It absolutely got him there.
Future Rick. Past Rick, this is Philian speaking. Flute to 5 more, please. Also, I need eggs. Thanks.
Milk and eggs.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Shopping? Getting basic grocery staples?
Okay.
I just like milk and I like eggs. Not together. I just like both. Yo, you know what's great? Fire Rod Landmo. Technolink did it. That's why I mentioned it.
Sorry, had to step up quickly.
Technolink did Fire Rod Landmo. It was fun.
Nice. Yeah, Fire Rod's always a good time.
So that means Technolink now gonna make the dive into Misery Mire. We'll see just how quickly he gets that big key and gets out of it, because he knows, as far as he's concerned, all he cares about is that big key to get to Vitreous to pull that hook shot off the pad. Definitely seeing a big dungeon advantage on Technolink's side here, as Rick just now opening Turtle Rock and is going to have to check every chest up through Laser Bridge.
Every chest up through Laser Bridge. Still an Ice Palace behind as well. Fortunately, both runners will be able to go mode Swamp Palace.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very long opening animation for Misery Mire.
You know, it always feels long, but it never quite feels this long.
Oh, there we go. Gosh, what was the big key here? Was it in the lobby chest or the compass chest?
I think it was probably that compass chest. That's the one that sits on, or like just jutting into the spikes on the left side?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was there, which is convenient a lot of the time because you can just walk right and then up and then to the boss from there.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good spot to find it. I like it there.
Oh, Rick, why did you cane there? All that did was slow you down. The chomps were totally out of the way. Your path was clear. Just go for it. The worst thing that happens is the chomps hit you over and over and over and send you back to the start of the dungeon.
I mean, when you phrase it like that.
And that never happens to anyone, ever.
This is your first commentary, isn't it?
So, DT, what the heck is a randomizer?
Ah, well, for this game specifically, on the base mode, which this is one of, you have 216 item locations that are shuffled amongst each other with a logic so that the seed can always be beaten.
That's a lot of items. I don't know if I can count that high.
I mean, just go one at a time, you'll be fine.
Okay.
And because this is a pedestal seed, well, no, we're not going to see most of them. Well, we're going to see most of them, but it might not actually be too high of a count with a Go Mode Swamp, depending on GT Big Key.
Yeah. Go Mode Swamp, Go Mode Ice Palace for Rick. There's the big key in what we're calling the compass chest, because it probably is.
It is. Sword Beam making that one Hokuboku kill a little bit inconvenient. Gosh, what a wild race this has been. From whole world access 10 minutes in to one runner gaining pedestal knowledge much earlier than the other and stumbling upon that Bombos medallion to get through Turtle Rock. That has largely been the difference in this race.
Yeah. That pedestal knowledge for teknolink was quite significant in all this. Just kind of giving him some focus in the places he chose to go. Rick might be having some input troubles. There we go. Thanks, Nest9X.
That doesn't look good.
He's good. He's got control.
Okay.
I think.
I mean, he's moving.
He's moving.
I mean, we are seeing another reminder of where that tempered sword is a lot of it better than Master Sword. It is, I believe, 12 slashes on each of these eyes with the Master Sword.
Is it? I have no idea. I just stand and slash with the cape like Technolink's doing. Because hey, when you do this, your magic drains more slowly. I was actually wondering, like, why did Technolink go for that full magic pot on his way to the basement? Surely he doesn't need it. But actually, with Master Sword and cape, that's your best approach.
In the case of that, I still think that, use the cape, fine, keep the safety, that's good. I still think that actually doing the Master Sword spins would have been more effective.
Yeah, could be, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll take your word for it. You seem trustworthy.
Thanks.
You've never threatened to beat me up. I
actually never have, because that would not... How could anybody ever do that to you?
I mean, most people don't. It's a qualifier I like to say about people.
Okay.
Rick's never threatened to beat me up.
Mm-hmm.
Technolink's never threatened to beat me up.
Okay.
Link Force is our tracker for this run.
He's been yelling at us.
Never threatened to beat me up.
Anyway, Rick's got his ice rod. He's got his small key off of Laser Bridge. Gonna go take care of Trinex, and then that pedestal is open to him as well. Hey, Philion.
Hey, DT.
Fancy a swim?
Yeah, I just would prefer not to have to beat 3 pendant dungeons and go to the pedestal to get it.
You didn't have to. This time, at least.
Hey, you're right!
So there you go.
Awesome.
We both got what we wanted. Alright, so that is official go mode for Technolink now. Grabbing the flippers off of the pedestal. Just a quick go mode swamp, and then... okay, fine. Okay.
I hate to say it, which is why I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to say,
That's fine. We didn't say the other stuff until we learned about it either, so... That's fine. Okay. We're just gonna... What? No, go ahead.
The big question here is just kind of how much does Technolink go out of the way to check things in Swamp Palace? And the answer is probably the waterfall room and 2 flooded chests and maybe the South Loop chest.
I don't even know about that. That's nothing but shallow water and screen transitions.
That's a lot of walking. The only things he'd be looking for at this point are an extra sword or the boots, both of which, are a significant speed up for him. But I can't imagine the chances on either are worth going through that South Loop for.
Yeah,
the 3 chests on the way, absolutely.
Yeah, you check those because it's not just boots that you might want. It's the sword. So, I guess we're not going to find out if one of those big 20s in Misery Mire was a sword, because Technolink got big and just went.
We did see Technolink check the one in what I'm going to say is the map room on the right side.
Correct.
Rick, tell us how you really feel, please.
Don't take damage doing it, though.
Yeah. If you're not pulling the pedestal, or if you're not taking damage to pull the pedestal, what Zelda game are you even playing?
Ocarina of Time?
Literally anything that's not Breath of the Wild, so.
I guess so. So, quick go mode Ice Palace for Rick. And then, it's 2 nice go mode dungeons at least, so.
We are seeing Rick about a dungeon behind here, so this does really look like Technolink's race at this point.
I would agree. We'll definitely, unless Technolink checks Hookshot Cave, or somehow finds another sword here, we'll see a little bit of that time gap close, but at this point, barring any major issues, probably not much.
Yeah, I think one of the important things is that Technolink did, quite early in the run, make that trip to the potion shop before dipping Ice Palace. And I believe at that point he bought both green and blue potions, and this is the part I'm less certain about. I don't think he's used that blue potion, which leaves him with a lot of health.
He had a lot of health remaining when he was out of magic on Gold Stair and did not use a potion in that fight. I haven't seen one since. There's boots in the waterfall chest.
Well, that's exciting.
So, can I say it now?
It.
Technolink in the last couple of rooms of Swamp Palace. Rick is going through ice. Same place as like a minute ago when I last said that, I guess.
Yeah. Also, woohoo, boots. No worrying about the Ganon Sour Torch. I assume Rick's going to pick those up. Rick, if you don't pick up the boots, I'm going to have words and more things on the shopping list for you.
But you're already getting milk and eggs. I don't think you need anything more, right? That's like your food pyramid right there.
want? Yes. I like
Definitely.
snacks, DT.
Oh, I agree. Snacks have been incredible over the last year. So now that the Argus fight is a huge time difference, going this route with the 4 Master Sword spins, but a little bit curious to not see the definitely quicker Fire Rod shots, at least to get a 2-cycle on it. But again, we're talking a couple of seconds, and
hey, seconds matter.
They do.
But yeah, we are seeing these little time differences happen and add up. It is nice to see that Rick is checking fairly religiously all the checks that are right in rooms he's already visiting, which just means he is going to pick up those boots in Swamp Palace. Technolink saving quitting to the mountain, probably to just... I can't imagine this is faster than fluting, but okay.
Hey, Philian, as it just happens to be, this is my first time commentating too, and I don't know what a randomizer is. Why are all of these numbers coming into chat?
Memes, jokes,
I mean,
fun guessing games, because sometimes when you get to this point in the race, there's not much to talk about. Spots where the Ganon's Tower Big Key might be in the basement from 1 to 22.
How about a Tempered Sword Colt Stair fight? That was much faster than Fighter Sword.
Sorry, I blinked.
So yeah, I guess we do have just one more thing to locate within the next 30 seconds or so. Technolink will be entering Ganon's Tower, and there's a big key we gotta find. And I'm not going to say anything more than that because I know that you all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Technolink with basically a full dungeon lead at this point, and he's going into Hookshot Cave, it looks like. This is really good for him.
Technolink.
This is, he already had a significant advantage in the race, but this is a thing that really seals his position, I think. We don't see him do the pickup
animation too.
But yeah, this Tempered Sword just means that everything's going to flow super smoothly on his end.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting enough difference going from Master to Tempered, just in the Gauntlet alone, when you've got the red Zezaks that don't die in one hit, and you don't always deflect them into the spikes. And
Are those the horse head enemies?
They do have horses on their heads. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say to answer that question. They have an entire horse on their head.
I just wanted to make sure, because not everyone knows the actual technical name of every enemy in this game, or so I'm told.
I mean, I definitely don't. The green version of the Popos outside of Palace of Darkness, those are beanbags to me.
Rumpus.
Okay. Wait, wasn't Ropa the snake? Or is that just Rope?
That's Rope.
I see. Okay. Well, that could have been a sword.
Sure could have been. That would have made a lot of things simpler, knowing that. But yeah, Technolink checks 2 on the right. Heads left. Does the fairly traditional routing so far. 4 chests in the Stalfos room, then he has to kill the Stalfos to Stalfi to get out. Stalfos not behaving. Oh, we're just going to see him.
You know, Ether works.
I was going to say Mirror, but we're going to see him Ether.
Relatively quick animation. A little bit of lag on that one. But yeah, if you don't feel like chasing them down.
I'm a little disappointed to see a boomerang strat in one room of Ganon's Tower and then not a boomerang strat in the next room. I mean, it works out, but the boomerang strats are just so fun.
It's a really enjoyable couple of rooms to do quickly.
Especially with Quick Swap available to you.
Oh yeah, no, it's super fluid. Rick about to enter the waterfall room. As thorough as he's been, let's hope he doesn't let up on that now. And he'll get his boots. Okay. We're all happy now. Everyone's got the boots.
Nothing yet for teknolink in Ganon's tower.
No, did we actually have a small key right side?
We did. So we could have seen him do right side at the start.
Okay.
You wondering if Rick is going to do that?
He either does or he doesn't.
Yes. That is true.
Quick powder on the anti-fairy, blow up the floor, just a bloop. Arrow in the wall.
Bloop. Yeah, heck that wall.
In particular.
Nice second phase of Cold Stare for Rick getting
Very
the
nice.
Fire Rod shots. And the spin makes up for a couple of wayward hook shots in the first phase. teknolink having a little trouble on ice. Armos activates the red guy, but nothing so big as to stop him.
And behind Ice Armos is... Oh, the small key, I guess, is kind of okay, but...
Let's go right side!
I guess we're going right side. We can't go upstairs.
Oh, we can. We just can't go very far.
Okay, sure. We can do a couple of rooms. In case you wanted to grind out the mimic strats or something. But there's also a practice hack for that. We're just gonna fire out everything.
We have half
Torches,
magic. Why not?
Gibdo, Floor Masters, Wallmaster?
That's a wall master because it comes in from
It
the
is.
ceiling.
Right. Oh no, just a little
Oof.
bit late.
All right, let's try this room again. teknolink.
Oof, almost getting
Oh.
rid. Had to quickly react there.
So as teknolink redoes this room, we're seeing that chime happen over and over as the door shuts and closes, or shuts and opens and shuts and opens and shuts and opens. teknolink successfully confuses the little imp controlling the door.
Really? Okay, there it is.
21. And teknolink's already got the small key, so can climb straight up the tower, grabbing one more from the Helmasaur at the top. Go, teknolink, go, as Rick is opening the tower.
I mean, depending on routing here, this it could be a much closer race than we were led to believe over the last 10 minutes.
So I don't know how Rick plays Ganon's tower. I don't think he goes right here, unless he does.
I could see it. I could honestly see it.
Even then, I don't. This is a pretty big deficit that he's running. Yeah, teknolink's a little low on health, but we got the safety room, and teknolink, as far as I know, is still rocking that blue potion.
And Rick is just heading back to the left. Okay. I mean, honestly, if I'm in Rick's position, I do the same thing. It's never right side. It was today, but every other time, it's never right side.
It's absolutely never right side, except for when it is. And you never know.
And we're going to see teknolink take that quick safety room. You know what?
Yeah,
Save
not
your
only
potion
for the health, but also for the magic.
Save your potion for Ganon, because that's really where you're going to want it on these modes. So that's a small time cost to make sure that you're fully healed heading up the tower.
So, as teknolink enters the gauntlet, the question I always like to ask is, how do we think he's feeling?
I mean, you're here at 100 minutes on a pedestal seed, and
That's pretty good.
You reasonably had the pedestal knowledge at an early-ish time. You were correct on the Turtle Rock play. You had Bombos about as early as you could have had it. I mean, not literally, but in hindsight, it was fine. I think you might accept that you lost because it is a ped seed and it never feels good. But I think teknolink should be feeling pretty okay right now.
Yeah, if we look at... watch this landmost strat. I like that pause to get your spin fully charged, because as soon as you power that anti-fairy, they're all coming out together. Nicely done. A little low on magic, that just means he has to use a little more conservation on item, or just
use the green potion. That works too.
I think he would have been fine, but this will make sure he's fine.
Yeah, I think so. There's enough magic along the way, but I think all in all, this might have been a little bit more efficient, so there's less... I mean, there's no cause for concern at this point. It's definitely the better peace of mind strategy.
But yeah, I think if you look back at the decision points teknolink had in this run, that early ped knowledge really paid off for him, as well as the ice rod in Turtle Rock. I think the only dungeon he ever had to double dip was Thieves Town, and that was a deliberate early game. I'm going to clear the front, then I'll just go back for the end. So, technically on paper, that's a double dip, but it sure didn't hurt.
I would agree with that assessment. All in all, you got to think that it's been about as clean and efficient as it could have been for what the seed threw at them. Yeah,
so then at that point, you just kind of go, okay, so if I feel like I routed this really well, how does my execution compare to my opponents? And I think these two have been fairly well matched in that regard. So, you never feel great walking up the tower unless you've completely got routed. But I hope teknolink felt a bit of positivity doing this run.
And on the flip side, I mean, going left side for Rick instead of to the right immediately, yeah, that takes a little bit of time. But considering, unfortunately, not finding Bombos as early, not having that pedestal information, we've still, at the end of the day, we've still got two runners in GT at the same time.
Yeah, this has ended up being fairly close, given the knowledge Rick was missing, both for Ped and for Bombos for a while. Rick's probably hurting a bit, as he knows at this point, yep, the dip out of Mire cost, a couple reclimbs of the mountain cost. That's, I think Rick ended up climbing the mountain twice more than teknolink did, and that's a fairly significant amount of time.
Depending on where on the mountain you go, like 45 seconds to a minute or so each time, plus or minus a little bit, depending on a lot of things.
I mean, throw in 2 extra climbs of Death Mountain and a rerun of a lot of Misery Mire that Rick did, that teknolink didn't, and suddenly this is a pretty close race.
Yeah, that's going to cover most of the time difference right there.
But Rick picks up the Ganon's Tower Big Key as teknolink drops into the Ganon fight itself. Or balloon facts.
I've always wanted to look that one up, because I want to know if Ganon is actually telling some truth right there, because it's very peculiar.
My question is, if those were the passengers, how did they get back down?
I don't want to think about that part.
They probably had a human operator.
They're probably... Well, then why wasn't that listed in the Ganon text?
Because the operator isn't a passenger.
Is it not, though?
If you're driving your car, you're not in the passenger seat, you're in the driver's seat.
No, but does that mean that if someone's in the back seat and nobody's in the passenger seat, then you don't have any passengers, even though there's 2 people?
Ah!
Hey, look, we're on phase 3 of Ganon already.
Ah!
Hey, Fyleon's charging up against Frieza. He's just gonna scream for 5 minutes.
I better not take 5 minutes. Technically can beat Ganon faster than this, right? We're into phase 4 already. We got Torch Glitch.
Wow,
we're just spinning to win.
How many spins?
12, so 10 more.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Technically not quite getting triples off, because that requires some really specific timing setups. But at this point, consistent doubles is definitely going to win the race for him. Especially given the half magic, meaning you've got, I don't want to say unlimited fire rod, but a lot of fire rod.
Yeah, there's plenty of room for leeway in how this fight goes. And still having a potion.
Does he? I saw him drink a blue potion at the start of this fight.
Oh, did
or
he? Okay,
phase
then,
2 or so.
And perhaps not. I was too busy listening to you scream.
Oh, I was screaming because I was watching the race.
Got it. Now I understand. Well, Ganon's down. That is going to be a GG for teknolink, finishing in first place. I actually don't have the race room open. But we are going to see teknolink walk across the bridge here at about a 1:47:20.
That is, in fact, the official RTGG time. Congratulations, DT, for guessing
Cool
that correctly.
seed,
And
right?
congratulations, teknolink, for winning the race.
What a run. Not a nice seed. Not the most friendly. Probably not how you want to start your Sunday mornings.
This was a great thing to wake me up.
I mean, I guess it woke me up once we got to the pedestal, but...
And that is teknolink joining us here in chat. Congratulations.
Thanks. It was a seed.
It was a cool seed, right?
Uh,
Some may not say that. I wouldn't.
I would.
GGs.
Yeah. I did not expect to win that. Let's putting it mildly, until I found the boots in swamp. I felt very behind because I skipped a lot of things that I could have done earlier. Finally, that hookshot on the pyramid ledge after doing the mountain. So felt, I really hope there's nothing left in Hookshot Cave. But with the knowledge that it was a bad seed, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Let's put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. And yeah, you wound up having that knowledge quite a bit earlier than Rick. Your routing lined up a little bit more in your favor, being able to get the Bombos medallion and just go through Turtle Rock your first time through. And of course, Ice Ride being there, things were just a bit more streamlined.
Yeah, it turned out very well in the end, I guess. I can't remember where Bombos was, because right now the only thing I can remember is how bad my GT was. But,
That's what the potions are for.
yes. There's a reason I always stock up before going. I usually am not that tense going up GT, but this time it was more tense than usual.
Sure.
I think it shows. But yeah.
Only with the fire rod shots
Yes.
flying everywhere. Could we tell?
Just a bit, right? Yeah. Also, the knowledge of Ped after I had the choice of going up the mountain earlier, or going into Skull Woods, but the PTSD from yesterday of Skull Woods was chewing at me, so I had no choice but to go in with the fire rod.
I mean, that was just okay, but the ped check was a big advantage for you to get that knowledge. I mean, I'm just imagining here that without that knowledge, you don't do a turtle rock dip or crazy things like that.
Yeah, correct. That's there was. I would probably have done some other checks before going to the TR, although it would have been.
I mean, if you're up there, you're up there.
Yeah, you're up there anyhow. But I was talking to Matt yesterday, and he said, "Well, if you have the ability to check it in one go, it would have been worse if you had to go up the mountain multiple times and lose time like that."
Mm-hmm.
So,
and like without that pedestal knowledge, for instance, like you might not know if you need the ice rod, and Turtle Rock's still a fairly dense dungeon that you can get through entirely. So, yeah, I don't know that you would have gone wrong dipping in even without that knowledge. But of course, it worked out in this case.
yeah, it's one of those things. If you do it, then you know that you have to go there. I was a little bit afraid of not finding the ice rod in TR when I knew that I had to go in. But at the same time, I realized that there was a good chance that Well, if worst came to worst, I would have put the... Oh wait, I couldn't come back. I was completely considering saving the portal, but without the hookshot you can't save the portal.
No, you can't.
Well,
Stupid hookshot.
I guess it worked out. But,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the considerations we were going through at that point was what else do you even have to do? Like having Mitts and Mire and Flute and everything so early, like there wasn't really a lot of stray overworld left at that point, so...
Yeah. So, and getting the Mitts early, that was ridiculous. You started out with Flute, Mitts, Moonpearl, I mean, as well as Mire. That was grieving the Mire area, and I was hoping that there was no boots or anything in desert at that point.
Right.
Because that would have been bad. But, sometimes things pan out in your favor, even if you take one of those, how do you say, take the gamble of there is nothing there, and you just skip it until the end.
At the end of the day, it's all randomizer, and
exactly.
I mean, that's all we can't even ask for anything out of it. That's just how it is. And with that note, Adirondack has defeated Ganon as well, and has finished in second place in this Game 1 Best of 3 series against teknolink.
With an official RTGG time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and no seconds. Count them, no seconds.
And Adirondack Rick is now with us as well. Good Sunday afternoon to you now, Rick. And
Good
GG.
Sunday afternoon. Yeah, thank you. And
What
GG's to you, Techno.
seed?
GG, Rick.
Oh, yeah. About that seed.
What about it?
I should have learned my lesson by doing the commentary of the Saboteur race last night.
Oh, no.
And, no, indeed. I noped out of Mire saying, no, there's no way this could be a ped seed. This has got to be somewhere else. Fancy a swim. Indeed.
How fancy of a swim was it?
The water's cold.
It sure is.
I just wished at that point that I had checked the pedestal before going into a desert, but it just was way too appealing that there was just in my mind there was no way that we could get to the pad, and I didn't even think of a good way that you could check the pedestal with Skullwoods being a pendant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, at some point in this run, I mean, like any seed, basically, choices have to be made, and sometimes it's not convenient, and you got to stick with what's in your path. Skullwoods being a pendant was low priority, even with one item in the back still. That's one item, so where's your motivation to head back there? No, I totally get that.
Yeah. And I was hearing what teknolink was saying in regards to Skullwoods. What happened to him yesterday gave him good enough of a reason to get back there, and it helped him out in this case. Like I said, this was a case where I should have learned from the things that I've seen in commentary, and I did not. And in the end, well, fancy a swim, and now I'm feeling dumb because I noped out of Misery Mire, and had I not, then we're talking a closer race, but at least there in that case it would have been a race that came down to right versus left as opposed to various other things.
I think in my incredibly... I don't know what adjective I was looking for there. I think, though, that on a pedestal seed, we're finishing less than 6 minutes apart.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that it's still a very close seed.
It's not a bad finish. It's just unfortunate, and I feel bad because I already know of where I lost a good 2 to 3 minutes of this seed right away after leaving at the big chest with the second item. So I already know a couple of spots there where it's like, yeah, I could have done this differently, and I could have done that, and I should have just went to Vitreous at that stage. But
maybe,
like I said,
I don't think that was an unreasonable leave since you didn't have the knowledge. and it's a long walk just to get a pendant and not an item.
I mean, you're right. You're right on that aspect. It's just I should have had the knowledge before going into Mire, so that way I knew if I had to finish the dungeon or not, knowing that I was still one item from go mode. But yeah, it is what it is. You know, the only thing that really is unfortunate here is the fact that now I'm one game away from elimination and haven't put in a win here in this stage of the tournament. So Friday's going to get a little stressful for me, but I got to calm myself down and just play my game, I guess.
Fair enough. Speaking of games to be played, you mentioned Friday. Do you guys have a game 2 on the books at this point?
Game 2 is scheduled for Friday at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So that's going to be do or die for me at this point.
Friday at 4 p.m. Well, it'll be another great race. This was enjoyable to watch. A lot of uncertainties in it, even without that pedestal knowledge. There were points where you had some things in your favor, and it still could have easily gone either way. So, thank you both for running this and putting on a good race for us.
Yeah.
And thank you to the two of you for commentating this. I'll watch this one back and see exactly at what moment that everything just went kind of south for me in this one. If the early route felt really good. Like there's just so much that you could do, and I felt like I routed it pretty well. It's just
I have to wonder, Rick, did you go into Eastern early or late?
I lumped it. Actually, no. That was one of the last things I did because I ended up just doing pretty much everything that was Dark and Light World. Between the village of Outcasts and the Kakariko village all the way around to Hype Cave.
Yeah, I was wondering that as well because I did a similar thing. I just checked the first floor of Thieves Town and then went south. So I was kind of wondering.
I didn't even touch those first 4 at that stage. I didn't want to go in there because number 1, I didn't have a way to kill blind even if I wanted to do anything about it, and number 2, I didn't really like where I was sitting equipment-wise at that point otherwise. So, and the hammer situation too, because that would have lingered in my mind as well.
Yeah. It's the hammer being in the Eastern was a big thing, which I was wondering, yeah, if you went to Eastern first, then you would have had the hammer so you could have cleared Thieves Town on the first go there.
No, I didn't. I did not get to Eastern immediately. Like, it was probably about maybe a half an hour in by the time I finally looped around to there.
I think you were both in there at roughly the half-hour mark.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in any case, Rick, we'll see what happens on Friday.
And I understand that there's... Yeah, we'll see what happens on Friday. I mean, I understand that there's a luck aspect, but there's like... it just feels rough when you feel like... Yeah, luck got in the way, but also the fact that I didn't check the ped. But like I said, when was I going to? When I was finishing Pendant Skull Woods?
Well, I did, but that's the only time you could actually do it normally, or right after doing the back of Skull. The front of Skull. Those were the only 2 times. When did we get the book again, Mark? Where was that?
Pod, I think.
Yeah, so
there was no way we had that, or at least I didn't when I went into the first section of Skull, because I did that immediately when I went into the Dark World.
Yeah, that's probably that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'll see this one back and see how this watched it from the eyes of everyone else who got to see it. But my back's against the wall. We'll see how Friday goes. Maybe I can get this into a game 3 and at least get a win on the books.
We'll see.
Yep, we'll see.
That's the only thing I can say.
You want to get rid of that nervousness so you don't have to worry about Saturday or whenever we get to game number 3 scheduled. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, let me tell you, I was very nervous this race, and I still am trying to recover from it. So I'm glad we decided not to do the doubleheader.
Now, I'm glad we didn't do the doubleheader either, because at this point, I'd probably be freaking out more on the stress level than anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for the commentary, DT and Filey, and awesome people here having commentary. So I'm going to enjoy listening to this one back. And GG's to you, Technolink, and let's see how we go with game number 2 on Friday.
Yeah, seems like a plan. And also, of course, thanks to DT and Filion, right? Not Filion.
Fi. Like rye bread, I'm told.
Yes. All right, and thanks to the tracker, of course, who's been tracking our race and has almost completed our trackers, I assume.
Yeah. Link Force filled in a lot of that.
But yeah, Rick, Technolink, it was a pleasure. Best of luck to both of you on Game Friday. Enjoy the week leading up to it. Try to relax and go into it, both of you, with some calm nerves and just have a good time with it. In progress right now on SpeedGaming 5 and SpeedGaming 4, 2 races that started about the same time. We have Goomba versus Dracaris on SpeedGaming 5 and DJ Darkwing versus Killer App on SpeedGaming 4. Coming up at 3:10 on SpeedGaming 5 is Obscure Lifeform versus Darkened Sky. And that is it over the next couple of hours. Early evening, there will be more races restreamed onto SpeedGaming for the A Link to the Past Randomizer Hard Standard Tournament. Yeah, it's been fun. I like talking about video games. Filion, take us out.
Yo, TT, thanks for talking about video games with me. I also like talking about video games. Thanks again to both of our runners and to our tracker Link Force. And you know what, everyone, have a great Sunday. Just keep playing more video games.